Okay, thank you for joining us today for the second webinar in our series of Tennessee Farmers Market Bootcamp webinars for farmers market vendors and managers and other direct marketers. Our topic today is Beyond Fresh, creating value-added products. I want to acknowledge our sponsors. We appreciate them very much, UT Extension, the Tennessee Department of Agriculture, and the Tennessee Association of Farmers Markets. We also appreciate those who have collaborated with us to provide this workshop, especially the Farmers Market Coalition, the Center for Profitable Agriculture, and Oklahoma State University. As many of you are aware, attending all 5 webinars this week will fulfill a TAEP educational requirement in the following producer diversification sectors: agritourism, fruits and vegetables, and value added. For additional information regarding educational programs for TAEP requirements, please contact Grant Palmer at TDA, and we will notify TDA of the names of those who attend all 5 webinars. I'll be sending an evaluation after Friday's webinar to everyone who registered, so I hope you'll plan to take a few minutes then to complete the evaluation so we can measure the impact of these boot camps. Our speaker today is Megan Leffew. Megan has been an extension specialist in value-added agriculture marketing in our Center for Profitable Agriculture for almost 19 years. She provides leadership to the center's programs in agritourism, value-added food products, and direct marketing. Megan is a native of Colorado and was raised on a commercial cow-calf operation. She's won numerous awards for her work, and we're excited to learn about ways to add value to surplus or not so pretty fresh farm products. We'll also hear about opportunities, challenges, factors of success, and major steps to creating value-added agricultural products. Megan, I'm turning the microphone over to you now, and you should be able to go right ahead.
Thank you so much, Hal, and thanks for the opportunity to be with you all today remotely. I am a marketing specialist in the center. I'd be happy to visit with you with any marketing questions that you have beyond today as well. My email address is on the last slide, and I know Hal sent those out via email as well. So thank you for the opportunity to visit with you about Beyond Fresh, creating value-added products, and Hal gave a great rundown of what we're going to cover over the next 50 minutes or so, talking about what is value-added and why folks may consider value-added products. We'll talk about some opportunities and challenges associated with entering in that sort of enterprise, factors of success that we see with value-added agriculture operators, and then 5 major steps to creating value-added products. Now, if you are not interested in processing or packaging products, there are some tidbits in here that are relevant to anyone direct marketing. So if you're marketing at farmers markets, I think there are some tidbits throughout here, no matter the product that you are marketing, that may benefit you. So stay tuned. Don't tune me out if you are not interested in value-added opportunities, because there are some tidbits in here I think that will be useful to you. So let's start off with talking about what value-added is in terms of the work that we do here in our center, and also in terms of what we're going to be talking about today. So value-added agriculture allows you as a producer to earn a greater portion of consumer expenditures by taking what you grow or raise and processing it into a new product, packaging it differently, or directly marketing crops or livestock, or even your farm resources through experiences to consumers. So a beautiful example. I'm really excited for the growing season coming up to have some fresh product, but sometimes we might have an excess, or we grow a lot of tomatoes or peppers or onions, or we have some product that doesn't look as pretty as those big slicing tomatoes, for example. We might be able to turn that product into a delicious value added salsa and market that as an example. So that's a little bit about what value added is. Now, why would we want to do this? We have enough to do already. I know you all are working hard already. Well, there are some opportunities through value added to increase financial returns to your farm in certain circumstances. So I mentioned earlier that value added allows you to earn a greater portion of a consumer dollar. Well, consider the dollar that's pictured on your screen as a dollar that a consumer might spend in a grocery store for a product there. On average, about 14.3 cents of every dollar makes it back to the farm where some of those ingredients in that product originated. The rest of that, almost 86 cents, goes to activities and people along the supply chain. So there's a lot of labor involved. There's transportation costs and processing costs. There's advertising and promotion costs. There's costs associated with the retail stores where those are facilities where those are made available. So the bulk of that dollar goes to other sections of the supply chain between the farm and the consumer. So if the farm takes on some of those activities to process and package and maybe even directly market those products to consumers, then that entire dollar goes to the farm. Now you're saying, wait a minute, because there's a lot of work in that. Absolutely. And you're going to accrue some additional costs through those activities. Absolutely. So what we hope is that we can run some financial analysis and we can be efficient and effective in our managing our costs and doing those processing activities, that we hope that we can squeak out more profit out of a dollar than we can from 14.3 cents. That's not always the case, but we hope that by removing some middlemen from the supply chain, that we can retain more of those funds from ourselves, that we can take advantage of the high demand for fresh and local products and even experiences from consumers who want to buy those products directly from us or you as a producer. And in developing those relationships and learning the story of how you produce and why you produce, that they're willing to pay a little bit more for those products. We also might be able to use products that would go to waste, whether they're surplus or a small quantity that may not be able to be marketed in another way, or those not so pretty products that we can add value to them. So that is an example. For livestock producers, value added processing may be an example, an opportunity for those animals that don't conform to the rest of the group that you have. And a lot of times if we're marketing livestock through a sale barn or a video auction or private treaty, they want all of the animals to look the same size, the same color, the same type. And we may have a few animals that don't fit that. That is a great opportunity for those smaller animals or larger animals, or somebody with a different coat color. The neighbor's bull got over the fence, for example, to add value to those products, to those animals that don't fit the rest of your herd is one way to add value. Value can also be added in different degrees, and there's something called the experience economy that explains how we can add value along the supply chain with different goods, services, and experiences. So I'm gonna give you an example of apples. So if you were an apple grower, for example, and pick one of your products that you grow or raise and insert it in this example. So if I'm an apple grower and I raise a lot of apples and I'm selling apples in bushel boxes to the commodity market, I might be able to earn $30 per bushel of apples through the commodity market. But if I wanted to take some apples that I had surplus, or the not so maybe smaller apples, or apples that might have some blemishes, I may be able to take those apples and make apple pies with that. Now there's going to be some extra work involved. There might be a permit from the Tennessee Department of Agriculture. If I want to sell these wholesale, I'm going to have some extra ingredients for the crust and the filling in addition to my apples. And I might need a business license for this. So I'm going to have some extra costs and extra labor involved. But I might be able to sell one apple pie for $15, and I could make several apple pies out of a bushel of apples. So I can add value by making goods out of those products. Now I can go a step further, and maybe instead of selling whole apples at the farmer's market, maybe I am able to work with the health department to have some food service opportunities to sell a slice of apple pie a la mode with caramel drizzled over the top. And I hope you all are eating lunch while we're having this, because you might get hungry as I am. But I might be able to sell this slice of apple pie for $6. And I can sell, 6 or 8 slices of apple pie out of my one $15 pie. Now, again, you're going to have a little bit more labor involved, because you're going to have to cut those pies, and you're going to have some more cost of ice cream and packaging and the caramel associated with that. But consumers are willing to pay more because you're delivering some extra service, some special packaging there, and probably get to have a smiling face who is associated with the farm deliver that service with them. Finally, in this example, we can add even more value by adding some sort of experience. And you can do this experience at the market, or you might be able to do an experience back at your farm for folks. But in this example, maybe we have a workshop or a class where people learn how to bake a homemade apple pie. And they go home with their own apple pie. In this case, you might charge $40 or $50 for a ticket to this class. And so we're adding value through that relationship. They spend some time at the farm with the farmer or somebody associated with that farm. And again, you're deepening the relationship. You're able to tell your story, and folks come away with a great experience, a wonderful pie to take home to tell about their experience and your story to their friends and family, and are willing to pay for that experience. So think about products that you have that you're growing and raising on your farm, that you are direct marketing to consumers at the farmer's market or from your farm. How could you add some value by making a good, or maybe even adding some service to that good, or offering an experience to add value to? Just a couple of examples to talk through here. Some of you may know these folks. Some of you may even be on here. There's quite a number on here, so you may see yourself on here. Norton Family Farm is in Murray County here, and sell into the Franklin Farmers Market and other places, but they grow some farm products in their greenhouse, and often include some of those, some beautiful greens and things at their farmers market exhibit, but also include some of those into some of their canned and baked goods at the farmers market. Miss Karen also does some catering. She's one of our favorite caterers to get to come, because she includes some of her products in her menu, and everything is always delicious. So you can buy everything from your fresh salad mix to some canned goods to fresh baked products that include some of their farm raised product in it. Granddaddy's Farm is an on-farm retail. What is that pie? I believe that's a quiche. We just had some quiche for an event. She made some beautiful mini quiche for us. They're individual items, but I think this is a larger one. Yes, and they are delicious. Monica, you may have to grab a snack while we're talking. Granddaddy's Farm is in Franklin County, and they do take a few products to farmers market, some of their donuts and things that they have there, but they are mostly an on-farm retail market and farm fun opportunity there in Franklin County. They grow some apples there at the farm that they sell fresh in the market, and then do some really neat caramel apples with. They have some honey, and I love their, they have their nice logo and a really simple label for their honey, but they've, even added value to that pretty and delightful honey by tying a ribbon and one of those honey sticks to it. Makes a great even gift item if you're not planning to use it yourself. They use some of their, I think at one time they were growing over 100 varieties of squash and pumpkins and gourds and more than 40 varieties of mums for sale. And they use some of those squash to make some great pumpkin pie that they offer for sale in the market and from their concession stand. So definitely some ways to add farm value to some of their farm products. And then all the farm fun activities that folks can do there as well. Hatcher Family Dairy, of course, many folks are familiar with the Hatcher family there in Williamson County, adding value to their dairy products with some great fluid milk items, including chocolate milk, and that is one of my weaknesses. Their whole cream, different levels of 2% milk, whole milk. I believe they even have a drink with some caffeine in it. I think it was called Jumping Jimmy, and maybe even a sports drink with some milk product in it. So going to farmers markets and on-farm retail markets and delivering to other retail establishments as well. For meat producers, a lot of beef, pork, lamb seems to be growing, goat meat. We get questions about farm raised poultry and even quail and rabbit here. Opportunities for meat producers, livestock producers to add value through meats. We have had COVID increased demand certainly for lots of products, including meat, and also put more pressure on the processing capacity for meat processors in the state. So to be able to market meat products or cuts, farmers have to have their animals for beef, pork, lamb, and goat harvested and processed and packaged under USDA inspection. There is an option that the Donnells in West Tennessee have taken to work with a USDA inspected processor for the harvest and breaking down of the carcass into halves or quarters or primals, whatever they work out with them, and take those larger cuts back to the farm for further processing to be cut into steaks and roast, to be ground into hamburger, curing of bacon, making of sausage, and that can be processed then at the farm and frozen or sold fresh. And they work through the Tennessee Department of Agriculture for a retail store permit in order to do that. So another way that folks are adding value. And not all value-added products have to be food products. Many of you may have known Stephanie Henley with Henley Botanicals, and she has since moved out of out of state, but I wanted to include a product that I had some pictures of, and she uses some of her herbs for herb blends for culinary purposes, but she also uses them for things like this facial steam, and uses beeswax in some different items. So we can think beyond food products for value-added products as well. Finally, we could even think to how we might be able to use some of our waste products as value-added products. Sustainability for our environment and being able to use things that would go to waste is definitely a great talking point with consumers. Many consumers are valuing that. This is a product that came out of Giles County, and actually these folks have actually retired at this point, but they sold Grow organic soil conditioner across the southeastern United States. And this is made from poultry litter and poultry mortality from their laying houses. And it was composted and bagged and marketed through some permits from the Department of Agriculture, again, as some soil conditioner for gardeners and landscape. So think broadly about how you can do that. There has been a lot of demand for local food products for some years now, and the farmers markets, number of farmers markets and the number of vendors have been able to increase in Tennessee, opportunities to market directly to consumers. The COVID-19 pandemic really boosted that movement even further, as consumers had trouble finding products at the grocery stores, or were not wanting to shop outside also, and even looking for some social interaction in a safer environment, wanting to be outside. So that demand for local food increased, and we hope that we continue to keep some of those consumers and some of that purchasing going on. And so that really has been a boost and created more opportunities for fresh products, but also for value-added products as well. The challenges associated with value-added, one of those is that it adds an entirely new dimension to your farming enterprise. So you're doing a lot already in producing your crops and livestock, and marketing those directly to consumers at the farmers market. That takes a lot of time and effort, lots of different aspects of your operation. But when you add value-added product production in an enterprise, you have all of those production issues and marketing issues that you're currently undertaking, and you add a processing component. So you have equipment, in some cases you have a process that you have to learn, a food safety you might have to learn. You need to learn about and acquire packaging materials and labeling materials. You have to find out and determine how you're going to store and inventory your all your materials and ingredients that you might have, and your final product. There's a whole new realm of regulations that we'll talk about later with manufacturing the product, but perhaps even on the business side. You have to figure out a marketing plan, a pricing, promotion, how you're going to get people to try this new product, and how you're going to get it into their hands and build repeat to customers, where you're going to make that product available. You might have some additional customer service, and you may even have some additional hired labor that goes along with manufacturing a value-added product. So it is a whole nother realm to your operation, a whole nother dimension that you'll have to plan for and implement if you conduct this. Also value added, there's a lot of opportunities, but there's also some challenges associated with it in the fact that there are a lot of new food products and a lot of new products in general that come along in the market every year, and a small percentage of them are successful. There are a lot of salsas on the market. There's a lot of jams and jellies. There's a lot of baked goods out there. And so being able to capture enough of the market and generate repeat customers for that is really important. Being able to work through all the manufacturing challenges and regulatory challenges. So we've got to make sure that we're doing the best we can. Folks often tell us, well, we have a perfect recipe for a barbecue sauce, or grandpa's recipe for the barbecue sauce, or grandma's cookie recipe, or whatever that recipe is, and that this product, everybody's going to like it. Everybody's going to want to buy it. And I think you are probably familiar that, not everybody at the market buys your fresh products, and that's the case with value added products as well. Product is only one piece of the puzzle, and it's not up to everybody's alley for every product. So we've got to think beyond that a little bit. We can think beyond that by looking at the reasons why businesses often fail, and hopefully that will allow us to figure out what we need to do in order to avoid our business failing there. So we can categorize these into 3 M's. And the first is money. And unfortunately, we've got to have money to make money a lot of times. And that's the case with these value-added enterprises. It takes some money up front to get started. You might have to buy equipment. You might need new product liability insurance. You're going to have to buy ingredients and packaging and labeling and some of those things. And sometimes that's not very expensive, but depending upon the product that you're doing, that can get in to some real funds. And most businesses that do this use their own savings in order to get started. Now, we have some great unique opportunities in Tennessee. If you're an existing farmer, many of you are aware of the Tennessee Agricultural Enhancement Program. If you're an existing farmer looking to get into value-added agriculture, if you could make the case that that's going to help you increase your revenue and your profitability of your farm, then there are some opportunities through the producer diversification grant for value-added production and items. So I encourage you to check that out. But that's a portion of those costs, and you're still going to have to put some funds in. Over time, when you begin, your sales are zero. So your revenue coming in is zero from that component of your business. So you've got to ramp up sales and generate money coming in, and hopefully that will then cash flow help you pay for your expenses as you continue to process items and create new units to sell. So money is an important part of our business and getting a value-added business up and running. Management skills and experience is also important. There is a lot of juggling of all of that production and processing and marketing and working with regulations going on. So being able to juggle all those balls and keep things moving is really important. If we drop any one of those balls by ourselves or with our team, then that can cause us a lot of issues. The third M is marketing, and figuring out who our specific target audience is, who are that segment of customers who are going to buy this product, and how are we going to reach them and entice them to buy it, is also very important. Rather than taking if we build it, they will come and everybody's going to buy it approach. We really need to focus in on our target audience. Factors of success that we see in producers that are successful at making a value-added agricultural enterprise starting in a strong financial position and having some long-term commitment, because these things don't become successful overnight. It takes a while to build customers and make enough sales to get to a profitable standpoint. Having some marketing savvy, the ability to connect with consumers and tell your story and develop relationships. Having some regulatory acumen to be able to understand that we need to figure out what all the regulations are that we need to follow, understanding what those rules are and working with the regulators to make sure we are doing that correctly. Having some people and customer service skills in order to work through any issues and provide excellent customer service on the front end. And then to produce quality products consistently. I'll use another meat example. I've got meat on the brain because I'm teaching about those regulations this evening. You know, if I go and buy some lamb chops from the Tavelins here, I see they're on, and they are excellent, high quality, delicious lamb chops. I'm likely to come back and buy those again. But if for some strange reason, in this hypothetical example, Amy, the second time I buy those, they're not as good, am I going to buy a third time? Well, that might depend on how good the first one was and how bad the second one were. I might give you another try, but if there's another lamb producer, I might try them, and I may not ever get back to the first one. So we really need to try to have our products high quality and consistently high quality, so people know what to expect from us. Also, with our value-added businesses, if we're looking to have a business and not a hobby, we are going to need to be profitable, meaning our income has to be higher than our expenses. And so there are several pieces that come into play. These are some of the main ones that we think about. All of these things have to work together in order to make a business profitable. The first is to manage costs. We can kind of go crazy out there in buying things, and it's hard right now because everything costs more. But I read an article recently that spoke to me and in my personal situation, but also we can relate back to a business. And this was about dieting or losing or maintaining weight. And this article said that it's really hard and maybe even impossible to outrun a bad diet. So if I eat so many calories, it's impossible for me in a day to do enough exercise to counteract that, right? To stay the same weight or to lose weight. It's the same with your business. If you don't pay attention to your costs, what these are, and trying to keep those low or in a reasonable manner, it's really easy to spend your way out of any chance of profitability, because you at some point you can't make enough sales in order to get that back. So we need to really manage our costs. We need to manage our production quality and efficiency to making sure, again, we're consistently producing a high quality product. We need to price for profit. And this is one, I think, where sometimes we just take a look at what everybody else is charging, and that's how we price our product. But there's really more to that we need to consider. We need to be more strategic in how we price our product, because we don't know if our costs are twice what our neighbors' costs are for something. We may be charging a price that doesn't even cover our costs if we aren't taking that into account. We need to take into account what a customer is willing to pay. If we price our product too high, then we may be missing out on sales. If we price our product too low, we may be missing out on some money that consumers would be willing to spend on our product, but we aren't asking for. And we need to consider what our goals are for our business, for the return on our investment and our work. So we really need to take some more things into account when we price. we need to ramp up sales. When we first get started, again, our sales are zero. So how are we going to get the ball rolling? And I think for those of you at a farmer's market, that this is a great advantage that you have, because if you're marketing at a farmer's market already with some of your farm products, you have an audience that's looking to you, and you have a relationship already to encourage them to try some of your value added products. So that's definitely a step up that you have. And if you can figure out what they need and offer products along those lines, that can be really helpful. Because our goal is to really build repeat customers. Those are the lifeblood of your business, people who come back week after week and buy product from you. You know that already. But it does cost you more to create new customers and generate new customers for your business than it does to build relationships and foster that business with customers you already have. And finally, we also need to think about managing risk to our business. Things go wrong, some of it which was within our control, and a lot of which is out of our control. So taking a look at what types of risks we're likely to have and that could be really detrimental to our business, and putting some strategies into place to help protect our business to live another day is really important. So I'm going to stop just a minute and see if I can look through. I see some questions here, some of which I will. Some of these are just some comments. So, do you need a license to sell dirt? Well, that's a good question. How you may have to help me with this one. So I do know that you need a permit if you're selling the soil conditioner or anything that's like a fertilizer type thing. I'm not sure about just a dirt. We might have to talk with Mark Powell at the Tennessee Department of Agriculture there to see if that's considered an agricultural input. And if there's any sort of inspection process that goes with that. Certainly, if you're selling product by weight, there is you will need some sort of scale permit for that. If you're bagging and selling by weight, then that has to be done on a certified scale. As far as bulk, if you're selling by unit, like we've gotten some from that's like a bucket load or a yard by volume. As long as that is an allowable unit of sale, that would be fine. I do not know though if you need a permit for just dirt. Hal or Debbie or anybody else on here know about that for sure. We can certainly ask.
This is Debbie. I think it depends upon if you're putting anything in it or if you're making any claims. And definitely Mark Powell is who you need to talk to. But if you're adding any sort of mineral, chemical to the dirt, then you definitely are probably going to need some permitting.
Great. Well, that is one question we haven't had yet. We could certainly check that out. I'll ask, where would the pick your own fit into the example? I'm assuming that was the experience economy picture. So that would actually be an experience where folks could come out to the farm and pick product themselves. So that would be on the far end of that product. And I think folks kind of underprice them some that way. It does save you some on labor costs, but there's other costs involved, and some producers, even in Tennessee now, are including some sort of admission charge in order to pick their own product.
Megan, I see a question there about selling plants, or just a comment about selling plants. Could you comment about what permits or licenses are needing for that?
Yeah, so I'm going down here. Okay. I'm gonna, so to sell plants, if you're selling rooted plants. There is a license from plant certification that you need from, again, the Tennessee Department of Agriculture, Consumer and Industry Services. There's a plant division. Annie Self is over that. And there's typically an inspection required to make sure, there are no diseases and pests and that sort of thing. Different licenses are needed if you have a greenhouse versus other sorts of nurseries. So I can find a website and put that into the chat, or to give to Hal to send out where you can find that information on the TDA website. Let's see, can I go over where Donnell Farm Meats can sell again? Was it just farmers market and their own on-farm store with the TDA inspection for further breaking down cuts? Okay, so meat coming out of a retail meat store that's permitted by the Tennessee Department of Agriculture can be sold to retail consumers. So that could be from the farm or a farmer's market, or a pop-up on the roadside stand. The USDA does allow a portion of the product to be sold to wholesale channels if it's done at a retail meat store, and that's based on a dollar amount of sales. But there's also some complication about what TDA will allow. So, and I have heard recently that they will not allow grocery stores to buy meat from another retail meat store and resell it, but they could sell to restaurants and things like that, as long as the Department of Health will allow that. So there's some complication on the wholesale side, but definitely to retail consumers. Can I sell my jelly to a business to sell or consignment? Okay, so if you if you are making jelly under the non-potentially hazardous foods in your home kitchen for without a permit, then you can sell those to consumers in Tennessee retail. So you cannot sell it to another business to be resold. The consignment gets a little bit of gray area. I would be a little bit careful with that. Now, if you're sending it with somebody to the farmer's market and they're kind of acting as your agent or employee, I think that is certainly okay, but you might want to talk about your specific situation with Mike Brown at TDA, or Patricia Hart at TDA. Okay. Oh, dirt was a bit of sarcasm. Okay, well, you really got us going there. Yeah, so I mean, if you're wanting other things to sell along with your plants, then you can do that. There's other considerations about business licenses and sales tax if you're buying in other things to resell. Debbie, thank you for the plant certification link. That's perfect. Can other jelly producers put the jelly at my farm store and I just charge a small fee for managing the cash? So that's kind of on a consignment basis. And again, they'll want to be a little bit careful. Make sure that the arrangement, maybe a written arrangement, so that they know that they have ownership and you are working kind of as their agent to sell that for them. You just want to make sure that that's clear. And again, I would talk with Mike Brown about how that may be possible or what to watch out for. Do all certifications expire each year? Okay, so all the ones that I'm aware of through Tennessee Department of Agriculture, Consumer and Industry Services do need to be renewed annually. There's a wholesale permit for meat that once you are in, you're in until you tell them that you're out. So you would want to check for each specific certification that you're looking at doing. Y'all have some great questions here. I think I may have caught them all for here. Let's go through the rest of this, and we'll check questions again. So a lot of times folks that are interested in starting with a value-added product have an idea or see a need in the marketplace, and they may not know where to start. So we'll talk about 5 steps to kind of get started, but I did want to let you know that we have a new publication that I'm excited about, that for food manufacturers or those interested in manufacturing a food product, that share some information about groups where you can get technical assistance, like from the Department of Agriculture, when to go to those folks, when to go to our partners in food science at UT with questions, when to come to us, and maybe when to go to the Small Business Development Center. So that's a good place to start with that. And then this also has a checklist of different steps, and we tried to include everything that we could think of. There are probably some things that we missed and we'll grow on, but I think there's 36 different steps in here, and many of them have a resource or two where you can go to get more information, and then where you might ask about technical assistance. The left-hand column is for you. You can mark out those that may not apply to your situation, or check off when you have something completed. So hopefully this helps folks get started and find some help along the way if you're looking at a food manufacturing list. So let's dive into 5 steps, and I'm going to do this quickly. The first is really to take a look at yourself and your resources, your mission, and your goals, and figure out a little bit about, do you have what it takes? Do you have the skills and experience that we see in entrepreneurs, a self-starter, effective communicator, accepting of some risk, proactive and ambitious? Do you develop written goals? And if you don't, I encourage you to do that. Folks who have written goals are oftentimes 30 times more successful than people with no goals at all, and significantly more successful in reaching those goals than those that just have goals in your head. So be sure to, that's a challenge to you, to develop some written goals. And they don't have to be really intricate. So we do want them to be SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. For example, I have a goal to drink more water, and I'm not doing very well today, but I want to drink, my goal is to drink 24 ounces of water every day before I leave work. And so that goal is specific. I'm going to drink 24 ounces of water. It's measurable because it's 24 ounces, right? So I'll know when I reach that goal. Is it attainable? It should be, because that's a pretty low bar, but I need a low bar to jump over to start with, right? It's relevant because it helps to improve my health and make me feel better. And it's time-based. I know that I'm going to achieve that goal at the end of every day or not, and try to work toward that. So try to answer all of those questions when you set those goals. Our second step is to research the market and take a look and figure out, where is there a need or a want in the market that is unfulfilled, that you can use your resources and skills and products in order to fill that market. So it's helpful to take a market-driven approach rather than just say, "Oh, I'd like to make this product." If you have a product you just want to make as a hobby and do, that's great. But if you're going to be a profitable business, there has to be something in the market that's really driving that. So is there a need or want that you can fulfill? and what and how much of that is needed or wanted. What do people who are looking to buy a product valuing? What benefit are they looking for? And is there any competition? Most likely there is. What is that competition and how does that impact you? We can also take a look at the market by looking at different marketing trends. And I like to look at trends from the National Restaurant Association, the next big things from Whole Foods is another one I look at. And then some of the market research from the Hartman Group is always really interesting information about what's going on out there in the bigger marketplace. You have a unique opportunity because you have a lot of customers at the market, and observing them and listening to them, and a great opportunity to ask them questions. So you have some built-in things. We want to look for a target audience that has a need or want that our business can fulfill with products, who are willing to purchase and have the ability to purchase products at a price high enough that we can generate a profit, right? So we also need to consider, does that profitable market exist? Are there enough of folks out there that are going to buy enough of the product in order to have a chance for profitability? And are we able to charge a price high enough in order to cover our costs and generate enough income for us? Hal did a great webinar a couple years ago with the boot camps about food product cost and pricing tools. And so if you're needing help along that angle, I encourage you to check out that recording. The third major step for producing a value-added product is to really investigate the regulations. We've talked a lot about regulations already, but there are food manufacturing regulations. There are regulations involved with marketing pet foods and pet treats, soaps and cosmetics and agricultural inputs. Some products we get into requires business licenses and taxes or collecting sales tax. We might be familiar with employment regulations for agriculture production, but when we get into manufacturing and marketing value-added products, we get into the regular employment regulation realm, and we need to make sure we're following that. And especially if you have some manufacturing on your property or the experience agritourism part, then the county planning and zoning regulations come more into play. We have a lot of resources on our website I will point you to with that for some of the regulatory information. This is a new one. It's a summary of food manufacturing regulations and resources. So if you're just starting and trying to figure out what category of food manufacturing regulations you fall under, this might be helpful. We have regulations about or publications related to lots of different regulations. So you can check out our website to find those. And if you can't find it, let me know, and I'll see if we have some information or a contact to direct you to. The fourth step is to create a written business plan. And Dr. David Cole was a speaker at our recent Pick Tennessee conference, a really wise, interesting ag economist, if that's not an oxymoron. But he says that farm businesses that develop a business plan were twice as profitable, excuse me, as those who don't. And so that's really an important aspect that I challenge you to take a look at. It really helps you to figure out where you are and where you want to go, and develop a proactive plan to help you get there and to meet your goals. It helps you figure out what kind of resources may be needed and what resources you have available. It helps you figure out if it's even possible for you to go where you want to go. And what you might be able to expect as far as results if you give that a try. There are a couple of business planning resources that we found to be helpful. Both of these are free. One is a downloadable book you can print off, and we have some copies available at our office, or some ag plan software. It's a template for a business plan that you can write right online, and it has examples and some additional resources to help you work through that. Finally, it's important as you're assessing, or as you're analyzing a value added business, to assess and manage your risk. And a lot of times we think of risk only from a legal standpoint, laws and regulations, or if somebody gets sick or hurt, what kind of risk are we under? But there are other types of risks that we need to consider, including human resources. What if somebody within our family or our business is no longer able to continue or choose not to? How's that going to help impact our business? Business interruption from weather or natural disaster, global pandemic, supply chain issues. Business interruption and production kind of go hand in hand in agriculture. Financial, what if something happens or there's a damage or loss of personal property? Maybe your transportation, getting product to and from. How is that going to impact your business? And marketing, what if we're not able to attract enough customers or to pay a high enough price, or some competition moves in? What do we need to consider? So encourage you to take some time and think about what kind of risks may be likely to happen, and if they do happen, what may be really detrimental to your business, and then think about some methods that you're going to use to manage those. So to reduce risk, maybe you get some food safety training and make sure you're following good manufacturing practices, and have a good recall plan in case something goes awry in your manufacturing process and you need to get that product back. We might think about transferring some of our risk to an insurance company and purchasing some product liability insurance or some extra kind of insurance to help us. We might accept risk, just acknowledge that something bad could happen, and we're going to save an emergency fund. Maybe that fund is to pay the deductible on our insurance, or to have some cushion if something goes awry. Or we might take a look at a certain product or manufacturing product or a process or market and say, you know what, the risk is just too high and we're not going to go there. We're going to avoid that and go another way. So those are some risk management methods. Well, we have covered a lot, and I'm sorry we're about 2 minutes over. But thank you for the opportunity to talk about value-added agriculture opportunities and challenges. There are definitely some opportunities, but it's not necessarily easy. Most things worth doing are not easy. It's really important to assess your resources and the market potential, and then to develop some plans so that you can work out some of the problems along the way, and use the available resources. The folks at the Tennessee Department of Agriculture, our folks in Extension, Small Business Development Center, and each other. There's a lot of resources out there available to help in planning and getting things off the ground. So I appreciate the opportunity to visit with you, and I will take a look at some more questions. If that's okay, Hal, for anybody who can stick around.
That'll be great. Thank you, Megan. While you're looking at those questions, I have another phone number that if this is you, please unmute and let us know who you are so I can document your attendance for TAEP credit. The number is area code 901-570-5967. If that's you, could you unmute and let us know who you are? Okay, could be that person already logged off. If you see that you have logged in as Hal Pepper, please unmute or self-identify yourself in the chat. Type your name in so we can document your attendance for TAEP. Unfortunately, I sent out a link by mistake on Sunday. That was my personal link. And if you use that link, then it's going to log you in as me. And we won't have a record of your attendance. So if you would please let us know who you are in the chat if that's you, or unmute if you're on a phone, and just so we can document that. It's really best if I hate that I did that, but if you could log back in for the future webinars under the personal link that you received when you first registered. We sent those out yesterday as well, those unique links. So hopefully you have that or can look in your email. It's a link from Zoom. Okay. Megan, did you want to address any of the other questions?
Sure. And I will make a note here. If you are named Hal Pepper on here, you might try this. If you can hover your mouse over your name, if there is a blue button that comes up that says more, if it gives you the option to rename yourself, you can change your name to your correct name. I'm not sure if that's only a option for those of us who are hosts, or if that's an option for everybody. Bruce buys truckloads of finished compost out of Shiloh, Ohio, and would like to be a dealer. Do I need inspections or certification to resell the soil that is already prepackaged in 32-pound graphic bags? Bruce, I don't know for sure. I mean, you would certainly need a business license and sales tax issues with that. We would need to check with Mark Powell to see if there's anything else, or if that business would need something in order for that product to come into the state. That's an excellent question.
Well, hey, that sounds good. Yeah, I'd love to sell it. It's the only like a OMRI listed thing in the area, so I'd be happy if I could offer it here locally.
Yeah, we can get, if you wanted to reach out to Mark in particular, individually, that would be good, because you can explain all the details of that situation.
Okay. Well, hey, thank you so much.
Great. Hal will get information on previous recordings and tell you how he do that. Do we need a license to sell compost? Yes, if you are composting product and are wanting to sell that, then you need to work with Mark Powell to see if you can. It's easier to sell under a label of a soil conditioner versus a fertilizer or something like that. So you would want to make sure that you are meeting the requirements and labeling properly. And then if you're selling by weight, making sure you're doing that correctly. So for any sort of compost or soil or fertilizer type things, reach out to Mark. We're getting him lots of business today. Debbie, don't tell him we've sent him all the all of these things. Christy, I think Hal sent the slides out just prior. So if they're not in your email, let us know and we can get them to you. For worm castings, that's another good question. I think we have some information about that somewhere. So if you will shoot me an email, I can track that down for you. Licensing for hatching eggs. I think we have a fact sheet for that as well. How was that you?
No, that's someone probably logged in as me.
No, I mean, I think you might be the author of that.
Which one are you talking about, Megan? I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
A fact sheet about hatching eggs. We have a fact sheet on that on our website, I believe. Let me see if I can find that and I can put it in the chat. Or you can email us and we can can do it that way as well.
I will, I'll put it in the chat. I've got it here.
Oh, great. Thank you.
It's the note that Rob wrote.
As far as selling the animals themselves, I don't think there's anything, because you can sell, you know, live animals, however, but for the eggs, there is something. Y'all have some great questions. As far as selling straight manure, you do have to be careful with that. If you're bagging anything like that, then again, you get into some of the weights and measures and other sorts of regulations. Also, this is outside my realm because I am an economist, but there's issues with using, you know, raw manure as a compost without, or raw manure without composting on food safety. So our production specialists are really concerned about that. I think I have caught everything here. For now, I'm very willing to stay on for any longer that we need to, and folks are happy to email Hal and I. We don't know everything, but we know a lot of people. So we can try to find an answer or send you to somebody who does know if we can possibly find them.
Thank you, Megan. I appreciate your giving us all this good information today, and appreciate your staying around to answer any additional questions we might have. So tomorrow, I hope you'll join us then when we'll hear from Rodney Holcomb with Oklahoma State University. Rodney's going to explain the differences between selling livestock and selling meat. And he will also discuss regulations that impact your ability to sell meat from the farm or at a farmer's market. So I hope everyone has a great afternoon, and thanks again for being with us today. We'll continue to watch and monitor the chat box here and try to respond to these messages as best we can. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you.
So, Miss Megan, I actually had a quick question.
Sure.
Sorry.
No worries.
So I know that you were talking about just pure cow manure as a compost. There's some things that we need to, I guess, add into it. I do have Mr. Mark's email address, and I just wanted to make sure that he would be the person to talk to about what we needed to add into it, just so that way we can properly label it, get the bags and things like that.
I'm not sure that he would be the person to talk to about the production of a compost, but he would be the person to talk about the regulations for selling products like that.
Okay. Hey, Megan, do you want me to jump in?
Oh, yes. If you have an answer,
Okay,
that would be great.
Here's my disclaimer. I no longer work for TDEC. That's the first one. So all representations are not official. And then I did run composting facilities. Honestly, if you want to take material and put it into a bag, you open up producer, consumer, fertilizer, and fertilizer regulations. You have to test the material. You have to certify the testing. It has to match what you put on your bag. You have to have it by weight. There's a certain number of batches that you have to run that test for. And unless you're, really going to get into that business.
Nope.
And I mean, I'm talking hundreds of cubic yards.
No, you've already deterred me. It's okay. I'm okay. I will sell it on Facebook Marketplace, and they can come and buy it by the truckload.
There you go. That's the answer I was going to give you. Yep. And that's where, and so the two operations that do some manure composting, if you do manure composting over a certain volume, TDEC may require you to get a permit if you start to mix other things into it and accept things from off of your farm property because of
okay.
water quality issues.
Okay, I have a quick question. I'm sorry, can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you fine.
Oh, hi, sorry.
Sure.
Okay, so I'd asked the question about the selling the horse manure. So it is okay for me to sell horse manure straight from my pastures, just to, like local people, if somebody wanted to just come get a truckload and I can use my tractor and just load up their truck. Is that okay to do that?
And I don't think there's any regulations because you're not triggering anything. You're not claiming that it's a compost and it's only from your property. And then Megan, you want to jump in and say, but that's going to be really bad for somebody's plants if they don't understand that they have to age it for almost a year.
Okay. Well, I did talk to my hay supplier, and he told me like what, and now I can't remember the name of the stuff he used on the hay that I bought from him, but I've got it written down. But so I was just gonna, I guess, just inform whoever was buying it that, that it has that on there and that it does need to sit for a year or more, before you use it. Is that how I should go about it? Just informing the people that are buying it?
And Megan, I just want to make sure I'm okay jumping in. So the biggest thing that if you're going to get people to buy manure that they need to understand is that if they put raw manure, even if it's aged, directly on their plants during the growing season, is that it's going to steal nutrients and back out of the soil. So if they're amending with manure, it should be kind of off season, or it should be an aged and composted material, which I think UT even has a publication on how to age and compost, manures, that I think they put out real clear. But as far as legalities, as long as you're not selling by weight, putting it in a bag, or making a claim like on a sign, on an ad, or anything else saying it'll do these great things or it has nitrogen, then there's no rule that applies. And as long as you're not bringing material onto your property from somewhere else.
Right. Okay. All right. Yeah, I think that pretty much answers my question. Cool. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
So I actually have another question about, it looks like Miss Megan, you did the pet treats. That was something else that we were interested in. So if we did pet treats, and we wouldn't be able to put them in like a little candy bag and say, made, and put like the 4 ingredients, we would have to follow the permits and all that other, I guess, information.
Yes, you've got to have a permit for pet food and pet treats.
Okay. And then same thing for like soaps and lotions and things like that?
So soaps and lotions are different. Soaps and lotions are different.
Okay.
Everything is different. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't, I have some information that I could probably email you about soaps. If you wanted to email me, I can send you some things there.
Yes, that would be awesome. So, because we're very interested in the extra added value products, especially like the pet treats, because most people have, a dog or something like that, and then the manure. So we're just trying to figure out how to be very lucrative, I guess. Raw milk. Yep. So never mind. Miss Megan also did and poultry litter, because we are a poultry farm. Okay, perfect. But yes, ma'am, can I have your email so that way I can ask about the soaps?
Yes. I will put it in here again.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. Things get lost in this.
Yes. Sorry, I have my little. Okay, so I don't need to email him anymore, but I do need to email Megan. Okay, but I think that is. Johnny, do you have any questions? Perfect. Okay, well, thank you, ladies, so much. I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow, and I really appreciate the staying the extra 20 minutes. I apologize.
No problem. This is the fun part.
Yes. Oh, actually, for a business, I think that got lost in the chat too. We have a business plan because we had to make one for our tax exemption. But is there a department that can kind of like review our business plan, tweak it, help us out just to make sure I like to write things down to ensure that that's the plan that I'm going to follow. So I was just wondering if there was somebody who could review the business plan and see if there's, like I said, any tweaking, any adding, things like that we should do.
If you want to send us your business plan, I'll be happy to take a look at it for you. Let me put my my email address in the chat.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're glad to take a look at it.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, now I promise I'm done. I'll let you guys go.
That's fine. Thank you. So glad you could join us.
I had one question I wanted to ask.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I wanted to ask about the like when you're selling fresh eggs from your chickens and the duck eggs.
Mhm.
How
Sure.
do you how can we how do we need to, in order as far as the are we required to like wipe the eggs down? Are we required to keep them at a certain temperature, that for storing and stuff like that to sell to your customers?
So you're selling eggs just for consumption?
Yes.
Well, the Department of Agriculture changed the rules on that not that long ago in
Okay.
Tennessee. So I'm gonna put a publication in here. So they used to have a lot of regulations with that, but Tennessee does not have any specific regulations anymore. They're relying on the federal regulations. And so there is not a requirement to wash or refrigerate your eggs anymore. And this are for producers with small flocks. So less than 3,000 laying hens. So that's a small flock. You do have to put the
You said less than how many?
3,000.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of eggs. So you do have to put a safe handling instructions on your carton. But that is basically the only requirement. Now, our food safety folks have some recommendations or suggestions that you go a little bit further than that. And wash them appropriately and refrigerate them and put some additional information on the label. And so I put a publication link in there that gives some suggestions on those specifics.
The publication on the farm code. No, that's the compost for. No, that's poultry litter.
Yeah, scroll down a little bit further.
Okay, I see it now. The eggs. Okay, gotcha. Egg cell regulation. That's great right there. Now, would that include? Oh yeah, that's what I'm about to ask. Does this information also includes duck eggs?
It does. Mm-hmm.
Okay, then. So basically, the duck eggs. Okay, then that'll work.
Yeah, it does not include non-immutable species like quail or something like that, but it does chicken, duck, goose, turkey, guinea, or it does say quail here.
Okay.
For the Egg Products Inspection Act.
Okay, gotcha. I appreciate that. And this
Sure.
Megan, right?
That's correct.
Okay, then thanks, Megan. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely go through this and spend some time on it because, like I said, it's been. I was working on the farm stand yesterday. Today it rained here in Memphis, so like I said, these classes have been really good so far. Been really, really very informative. So looking forward to definitely, seeing what tomorrow brings too.
We're
So
very
I
glad
do
to
have a
have you.
silly question. How do we know when these classes are? I took a fertilizer. I took a fertilizer class with Mr. Howell, I think a month or so ago, and I don't know how I found out about it, but is there a way that we can learn about these classes? I guess I'm missing them.
Yeah, so if you are on our email news lists, we'll be glad to add you to that. If you want to just give me your email address or put it in the chat, or we'll send you we have four email lists. We have farmers markets, we have agritourism,
Yes, sir.
we have value-added beef and meat, and value-added dairy. So if you'll let us know which ones you'd like to be on, or if you want to type your name in the chat, or if you want your email address in the chat, or just give it to me, just let us know which list you'd like to be on. Awesome.
Yes, I was gonna say, so we're just starting out. We've been doing backyard chickens for about 2 years, and we bought our farm in December. So we're just trying to make sure that we're proper licensing, proper permits, not wasting time, not wasting money, and just trying to make sure that we're learning all sorts of everything that we can. Is there going to be anything about maybe regenerative agriculture?
I don't know that we have anything coming up on that specific topic right away.
Okay.
But if we do, if you'll let us know, which email list would you like to be on?
Oh, all of them. I check my email pretty often, so I'd like to be on it all just in case. So that way, if there's a class that I'm interested in, I can jump in, and if not, then at least I knew about it.
Great. Okay, so I see 2 or 3 in the chat. If you'll let me know which ones you'd like to be on and your email address. The ones we have are agritourism, farmers markets, value-added meat, and value-added dairy. So Tamlin, I've got you for all of them. I see some others are asking that same question. So we're happy to add you to all 4 if you like, or if there's a specific one, we'll be glad to add you to that one.
Hey, Hal, this is Dana Chango. We met at the Pitt, Tennessee conference.
Yeah.
Question for you. I think we briefly talked about agritourism, but is there any publications or regulations about farm stays, doing a farm stay on your property?
Are you talking about from a standpoint of a business license or taxes on that, sales taxes or what have you? Or some other question?
Well, pretty much all of it.
Okay. We have got a publication on business licenses. I'll be glad to send you that. If you'll
That would be great.
Yeah, if you'll put your email address in the chat, I'll send you that link to that.
And then if you just have anything on agritourism, things you need to know, insurance purposes.
Okay. We'll send you the links to those.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
I was gonna say, I'm in the same boat. I would love some agritourism just to figure out what we need to have people stay in the cabin that we have on the property.
I don't have a lot on farm lodging. That's something that I would like to work on, but we have a lot of agritourism resources on our agritourism program page. You will want to look at the agritourism liability law publication. And some things there.
I'm going to put the link to the business license publication in the chat box so that folks can have that as a resource.
Now, will this chat box stay up for all?
I'm not sure. When you watch the recording, I don't know if the chat box will be there for you to see or not. I'll leave it up until everybody has logged out today in case there's anything you want to make a screenshot of or copy and paste anything from it.
For those of you interested in agritourism, I would encourage you to check out the Tennessee Agritourism Association. It's a great group of folks that do a lot of networking and they have meetings at farms and talk about challenges and things they've come across. So that's a really great opportunity.
Oh, hey, Mr. Howell.
Yes, sir.
Hey, this is Landis with Land and Us Farm at gmail.com. I just want to be added to all the emails. I kind of sent it. It kind of came probably in the chat.
Okay, great. Yeah, we'll add you to that.
And also, I wanted to find out who is our liaison for here in the Memphis area, or for the state of Tennessee, especially dealing with us as direct, myself like a direct farmer, and the farmers market. Because I called the extension office, they gave me a number to a young lady that's the director over one farmers market, and what I've come to find out, she said that now the city, the city municipality is charging like $300 to have a farmers market and stuff like that. So I chose not to go that route because I'm like, she said she don't know how they even came up with that fee, And so what I'm seeing is it's like an attack on us as direct farmers and farmers market. When farmers, when we are already having a aging population, averaging 60, 62, but then not only that, we're also being squeezed. It's such a fine line between, doing this farming and staying profitable and living, but we're being squeezed by our government, local government. So I'm just trying to find out who is really advocating on our behalf or a liaison to say, hey, look, this is what's happening to us.
Right. I'm not sure that I know the best way to answer that, Landis, but one option, I guess, would be to advertise your products on Pick Tennessee Products website. Are you familiar with that website?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Let me find that and put that in the chat box. And that's a good way to let folks know what you have available, and it's free. Okay. Let's see if I can get that for you. Megan, you may have some thoughts on.
Is Debbie still on? I don't think Debbie Ball is gone with the Pick Tennessee Products program, but definitely I'll put the application on here.
Okay, Pick Tennessee Products, yeah.
Yeah, so if the Pick Tennessee Products is a marketing program of the state, and there are opportunities for listing on their website and on their mobile app. They have a Facebook page. They oftentimes profile farmers and products on there, and they send out news about other opportunities. So definitely hook into there. There's also a Pick Tennessee conference that is a great, that just happened in February. It'll be happening next February. Again, there's 8 associations, producer associations that work together to put on educational programming, trade, show, things with that. So there's a website for that as well.
All right, thanks. I really appreciate that.
Sure.
Yes, sir. So I see a question about on-farm composting a poultry litter link. I'm going to send this one again and see if this one works. That should be the link to the on-farm composting of poultry litter.
Yeah, that comes up for me, but I don't know if
Yeah,
that's for some reason.
right.
I mean, that should be on there.
Yeah, came up for me as well. So I'm not sure if there was a glitch in the copy and paste.
Hey,
the
Connie, if
browser.
you'll email one of us, we can probably download that and
Yeah,
send it as a link.
absolutely.
Um,
If there's no other questions, I'll leave this open until everyone logs off, just so you can look at that chat box and get anything from that you want to before we sign off here. I am going to stop the recording.